Hello, my name is Stacy Couch, and my website is wildgratitude.com. I am a spiritual director that specializes in shamanic healing and archetypal consulting, and I am here today to continue our discussion on spiritual direction and what happens during a spiritual direction session. One of the main things that we do in this work together is learn how to and work through interpreting the guidance that you receive. Your guidance can be considered the general collection of all of the signs, omens, symbols, odd coincidences, synchronicities, visions, dreams, messages, all of those things that come through to you from some seemingly invisible place. We look at what those bits of guidance might mean, and then also what to do with them. Ultimately, this is about learning how to read the layers of meaning that come to us through the sacred. Once we learn how to do this, we start to develop what's called symbolic sight, being able to see things symbolically. It's pretty simple, rather than literally. When people come to me and we start to look at the messages that they are receiving, often their first response is, well, I know somebody's trying to say something to me, but I have no idea what it is or what it means. Or you might have an idea, or some ideas, but they don't quite fit. You need to talk them through. You need some help. You'd like another perspective because you feel like maybe you're seeing some of it, but not all of it. You might be seeing the trunk of the tree, but not the crown of the tree. And so, or the roots of the tree. You might want help getting a wider perspective or getting some other ideas and as to what these symbols or signs that are coming to you might mean. So I'm here to help walk you through that process. The guidance that we receive is definitely less instructional and more insightful. We jump into the literal. We jump into that this is absolute instructions for what I need to do in the physical world. But we're taking something that comes from the energetic, spiritual, invisible world and applying it to the physical. And a lot gets lost in the translation when we do it that way. And ultimately, when somebody is coming to work with me, they're interested in the spiritual level of things, not just the surface physical level of things. So let me give you an example. I think that will really help. Say someone has a dream. And it's kind of the culmination of something that happened a couple days ago. Like all of a sudden they realized, I think I might want to move. I think it's time for me to move. Maybe things aren't going well at this house. Maybe the neighbors aren't so great. Maybe the neighborhood's not great. Maybe you just feel like it's time for a change. Either way, this kind of, for whatever reason, whatever circumstance is going on around, this idea to move pops in. And then comes the dream of actually picking up, packing things and moving house. And that's and then the person wakes up, says, got it, that's it, it's time, I need to move. And so they grab a newspaper or hop online and start reading through either rentals or houses for sale or researching, where do I want to go? I can move, where do I want to move to? And get caught up in all of that, and they're off and running into the physical aspect, the instructional aspect of the dream, certain that they've just been told that's the right thing to do and it's time to move. Now, I want to say all this with the utmost compassion and say I don't see anything wrong with this way of working. It's completely beautiful and wonderful, no judgment here. But I also want to say that when someone's coming to me for spiritual direction work, we're looking below the layer of the physical. So your decision to move or not is ultimately inconsequential in the spiritual realms, because because it's this knowing that what goes on in our interior, what goes on in the energetic, in our spirit is actually what's driving the engine here. And the physical is the caboose. Carolyn Mace talks about this a lot. And so really, if someone's coming to me they're looking for help seeing into the spiritual layer of things. If they want help with the physical layer of things, they should go hire a mover or a realtor or a property manager. They should hire somebody to help them with the moving, the physical aspect. But they've come to me looking for help with the spiritual aspect. So we're going to go deeper. We're going to go beyond the physical into the energetic, spiritual, invisible realms and start to look at this more symbolically. That said, a lot of people have dreams about houses. It's a very common symbol in a dream, and a couple of different ways that we can start working with things symbolically. The most common one, I think, is for people to hop online or grab a book and see what other people say about a house and what a house means. A wonderful place to start, I think, helps us with brainstorming. And there's a lot of great resources out there. You just always have to check in with your intuition and say, does this feel right? Does it feel like this person's kind of talking, from their own personal experience? Or are they drawing from some greater collective field of knowing about what this symbol means? Because each symbol in our world has a collective meaning for all of humanity. And then each symbol has a very personal meaning. For some people, house is going to have a very warm, loving feeling because they've always been able to really create a good home or have a sense of home within who they are. For other people, home might actually bring up feelings of abandonment or feelings of homelessness and being in despair. So that's worth checking in with, and that's if not the most important aspect of working with symbolic sight, is also checking in with yourself about what are my associations or feelings around all of this. So these are the two main aspects when we're going to interpret guidance together, what we look at. What are your feelings about this symbol? And then also let's check in with the collective and see if that brings any new insight or ideas. So that said, what I'm going to do is go ahead and grab a book. This is one of my favorite books. It's huge and really heavy, and I still try to carry it different places. It's put together by a collective of people that are scholars of archetypes. So you know that what they are doing is trying to bring in the collective for all of humanity idea of the symbol of each of these symbols they have in this giant book. So I'm going to read a little bit to you about house and home, because when I talked earlier about layers of meaning that come to us, this is what I mean, that there are a lot of different answers and there are a lot of different layers of meaning. And I think that this description helps to bring that through. A house is one embodiment of home. Home is where the heart is, a feeling state of belonging, safety, and contentment. Physically, our earliest home is the material womb in which we are gestated, and like the animals who instinctively make their homes and nests, burrows in the earth, the hollows of trees, caves and clefts, many of the first homes of our devising were intimate, encompassing, womb-like structures. Home is the sacraments and rituals of relationship, conjunction, solitude, and nakedness, enacted in the house's kitchen, bedroom, bathroom. In dreams, psyche is often depicted as a house. So your psyche is often depicted as a house. Sometimes there are different levels representing a continuum of time. There may be familiar rooms and others unknown, hidden, revealing, multivalenced potentialities. The structural soundness of the personality, the relation between its personal and transpersonal aspects, is also suggested in the depiction. Is the house solid or tawdry? Is there symmetry between vertical and horizontal or disproportion? Is the space pinched or spacious? The outer manifestations of home are subject to countless variables. Home has been idealized. In mythologies all over the world, our first home is a paradise of oneness, a time before consciousness and its conflicting discriminations. Home can be a prison or a haven of avoidance. One is homebound or a homebody. In house and home are domestic harmony and domestic violence. Home can represent the nurturing of the self and also its violation. We escape home, outgrow home, return home, seek home. Home is the goal of epic odysseys, spiritual quests, and psychic transformations. So at this point, if you were thinking, as I was talking earlier, yay, she's going to talk about what a house means. I've seen that symbol in one of my dreams. And I'm not sure, and I'm not sure what to do with it. So yay, she's going to give me the answer, right? So there you are. There is 30, 40, 50 different answers. And these are the layers. This is where it's like taking a very beautiful, multifaceted stone and turning it over and looking at every angle of it. This is the beauty of working with symbolic sight, is that you go over here and look from over here and go, okay, if the house is my psyche or my mind, and I'm packing up things, I'm sorting through things. So I'm sorting through my own beliefs. I'm sorting through my thoughts, patterns, what's important to me, what I value. I'm prioritizing, reading things. I'm getting ready to pick all of that up and put it to use somewhere else. So that's one way to work with it. But you see how this starts to go, well, okay. And so if this is about my sense of home, I've never really felt at home. And I always feel like I'm packing. So is a move really going to solve, like a physical move, really going to solve that for me? Or what do I need to do within myself to make that transition? And that's the last piece of this work with interpreting guidance, is then we start to delve into, okay, now what's next? What needs to be transformed? What needs to be nurtured, healed, paid attention to, and spent time with? And because that's what these messages, this guidance is often doing, is pointing us to what needs attention within our interior, and also what needs attention in our world. Sometimes we're also directed to look after someone else, or be more loving or compassionate, or empathetic with someone else. So it can also show how we can be of service. Ultimately, this is a huge body of work. I have really no idea how to cover it in a short video like this, but I feel like at least maybe I've given you a preview through this small example. It's generations worth of work. It's humanity's work. This ability to develop, hone, and continue to evolve symbolic sight. It's integral to our spiritual evolution and our spiritual paths, each and every one of us. And so it's integral to the work that we do in spiritual direction. I would like to read you, I've been saving this for a really long time, so I would like to read you one of my most favorite quotes. Let me grab the book. It's from a lovely author. His name is Peter Kingsley. It's called In the Dark Places of Wisdom. Highly recommend this book. If you're interested in Greek mythology or Greek shamanism, great place to start. Okay. This paragraph, I think, speaks to, and I'm probably going to revisit it in other videos because I just love it. And you can just turn it over and sit with it in your interior for such a long time because it's so rich. And in this quote I'm going to give you, he's talking about oracles, which is another way of saying messages, guidance, signs, symbols. He's calling them oracles. Oracles are never what they seem. For oracles to be oracles, they have to contain something hidden. The more you think you understand them, the less you probably do. That's where the danger lies. As ancient Greeks said, the words spoken by oracles are like seeds. They contain a fullness, a pregnancy of meaning, dimensions of relevance that only become apparent with time. Human language is like a splinter, fragmented, isolated, sticking out in one direction. But the language of the gods is full of surprises that surround you from all directions and jump out at you from behind. I think this piece of dimensions of relevance that only become apparent with time, that's the other important piece of spiritual direction, is that in that space, we take the time to sit with these oracles, these omens, these symbols. and see what lies hidden within them. See what other angles. When we settle on one message, it is like that language, how he says language is like a splinter, fragmented, isolated, sticking out in one direction. And with the symbolic sight, we take it out of, let's get one specific interpretation, and then I'm going to use it as instructions and go, and I'm going to live my life by that. And to instead open up into the fullness of it, like a blossom opening with many petals, many interpretations, and allow it to shift and change and inform us going forward in all sorts of different ways that you may have never considered before. Okay, so if you'd like to learn more about doing spiritual direction work with me, you can go ahead and click on this link. It will take you to the spiritual direction page on my website with a description as well as some videos. And also there's an online calendar there if you would like to go ahead and schedule an appointment right away. And there's I think at least 3 more videos in this series, so you'll definitely see me again talking about this. Of course, if you have comments, suggestions, ideas, questions, please post them in the comments below. I always love to hear what you have to say and appreciate you very much for watching this video. I know that your time is valuable, and I appreciate you being here today. And I look forward to the next time we get to talk. Many blessings.